Well, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. To everybody watching, my name is Jake Glaser with the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. And I could not be more excited to be here today with one of my close friends, Brian from Uganda. Brian, geez, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, good morning for me, good afternoon for you. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm well. How have you been, Jack? I'm happy to see you after a little while.
I
It's been
know
a
it's
minute since
it,
we talked.
Yeah, I'd say a minute is the understatement of the year. It's been a challenging few years. I know
Sure.
you and I have talked through all of it, and it's been everything inclusive of the pandemic,
Hmm.
and why we're here today to talk about the International Day of the Parent and fatherhood, because you are a parent now, man.
Yeah, it couldn't have come at a better time.
I love it. I love it. Are you happy?
I'm excited. My daughter turns 3 months in a few days from now. 2 days from now, actually.
Oh my goodness.
She's
So
she's an
you
amazing, beautiful little girl.
I can't wait to actually be there in person and be able to hold her in my arms,
I know.
share that joy with you. But I remember the day that she was born, you texted me and you said,
Yeah.
guess what, you're an uncle. And I'm sitting there going,
Yes,
no
I,
way,
I
this
I
is
thought
too
you
much.
I thought you did remember that. Yeah,
Of
but for
course I
me,
remember that.
yeah, for me, you were one of the first people that came to my mind, knowing the far that we've come and so much that we share together. I couldn't wait to share that great news to you.
Oh, well, that was it was an honor, and it was very special, and I thank you for including me in that celebration. It really means the world to me, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. um,
Mhm.
and you got me beat, man. You got a kid before I got a kid.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's an honor to be able to see you right now and to talk to you about a very important discussion that we need to talk more about in the world, and that's having HIV negative children, and the reality and the inspiration and the opportunity that people out there that are living with HIV can achieve an amazing family, a healthy life, a healthy partnership. You said your daughter's turning 3 months soon, so let's talk about new fatherhood and what that's like for you. I mean, I'm sure it's been challenging. I'm sure you're on what, like zero sleep right now.
Yeah, but it's equally fulfilling. Everyone knows how much I love my sleep, but it's one of those few sleepless nights that I actually enjoy and don't feel inconvenienced about.
Oh, it's beautiful. That is beautiful. Um, yeah, I can't imagine. I've only ever heard stories, but you'll have to fill me in, and you'll have to give me the secret tips on how to make it through those sleepless nights. I'm sure you've thought a lot about this. I mean, I think the nature of becoming a parent, when you've not only been an advocate for HIV and AIDS, but you've lived yourself through a lot of stigma and a lot of challenges in this experience, and you've seen the world change in so many ways when it comes to HIV. I can't imagine that the question doesn't go through your head, but when you think about your daughter, and as she grows up, what's the most important message that you think that you want to share with your child about HIV as she grows up in this world?
Yeah, growing up, I first want to let her know what the world has been with people like them that have not gone through the experience of the stigma, but
Mhm.
also to prepare her for the stigma that might come along with having a father with living with HIV, or maybe getting to interact with colleagues and all that. But most importantly, I've always read quotations from your wonderful mother, where she always said, people say they care, but it's until they act that we know that they care. I mean, every father cares for their child. That's a constant, but there's no much more care that I would give than the privilege of being the start of an HIV-free generation. I
Mhm.
want her to grow proud that my father was careful enough and strong enough to stand and face the storms and know that, yes, it was intentional, it wasn't by mistake, it was a planned move, a concerted effort to see that with her, a new generation that we've always imagined. You remember we used to have this talk on how would it feel when we get to a time when there's no HIV in the world, or maybe we get to a time when people refer to the times of HIV stigma. And it didn't relate by then. It's until now that I'm a father that's starting to make sense, and the picture is becoming broader for me, that every individual effort that we contribute to this cause leads to a broader community and global step to achieving what we all need to do.
You know, I think the more examples that we can put into the world, as you're saying, is proof and an example others can follow. You know, and so as long as we take care of ourselves in that experience and create a reality that is healthy and that is of a bright opportunity in life, then we get to show those around us that, hey, this is possible. You don't have to be afraid of it. It can be calculated, right? The science is true.
And simple things that we walk through, and we never imagine that they are so practical, like accompanying your wife for antenatal care, being intentional about your virus being suppressed, coming to the reality that I cannot pass on the virus to my partner or my family. I mean, that's much more of the steps and the strides that we've taken, but also to inspire the next generation, the younger generation, that, hey, look, it's possible. Our times were hard, and the circumstances which we grew in had a lot of uncertainty. There was little science by then, but now everything has been put to order, and we know that, yes, with us more focused and intentional, we can bring the HIV generation to an end and create a new world order where it's HIV free.
Yeah, and you know, I think that your point of being present in that experience, right? Joining your wife to the prenatal care appointments, being able to be a supportive husband in that experience and a supportive partner. You know, I do know within the world, you know, U equals U, undetectable is untransmittable. You know, that science is proven. And I think that we need to be getting that message out better, and we need to be supporting how it reaches communities. I mean, I know from my own experience, most people that I talk to about this, you know, they either have a very small idea of what that means, you know, or they've maybe seen a commercial about it. But I do know, I mean, supporting your partner through that experience and showing up for yourself and for their health, and that is what really, from what I believe, is what created this amazing experience for you, is the fact that you were a partnership going through this together.
Yeah, and culturally here in Uganda, the men involvement and their health-seeking behaviors are poor. So as a young man, being a champion to stand up for, hey, it doesn't make you less of a man, accompanying your wife into accessing the healthcare needs, or being responsible for your family's health, is a great stepping stone, and an alert that, oh, everyone else can do it, and there will still be man enough.
Yeah, well, you're breaking the mold, right? You're showing another path. You're saying this doesn't have to be the only way that we live.
Exactly.
Right? We can be proactive, we can be empowered, and it doesn't make you a weak person. It doesn't make you any less of a man in that experience. You know, actually, I mean, look, at the end of the day, let's call it what it is. Showing up for your partner in life, you know, being emotionally available for that experience, being educated in that's modern masculinity, right? That's being a good partner and being a good man in the experience. And I just want to say thank you for setting that example. And as you said, culturally, you know, we've had this talk before. You know, I remember working on a project in Lusaka in Zambia, and speaking to a couple, you know, young, early 20s young men, and we were talking about, you know, U equals U and the science behind it, and they literally looked at me and they said, "How long has that been around for?"
True. I have same discussions with my wife, And at first, it couldn't make, like, it couldn't relate for her until she did her first antenatal visit, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and until we had a daughter coming, and she said, these things seem to work. I said, well, you're part of a generation that's going to make them work, but more so to stand out and show that, yes, with HIV, it doesn't need to define you. You still can be who you are or who you want to be, regardless of the HIV status. And coincidentally, the COVID-19 pandemic has even cleared more air about stigma. I mean, people are now even more scared about being identified with COVID than HIV. So the world revolving every day with the science and with great advocates like us that are the front line of clearing the air, keeps us moving and becomes a building block to an HIV-free generation.
No, I love it. And thank you for bringing that up. I mean, I do believe that going through COVID has taught us a lot about how we can not only rethink how we look at HIV and other health issues, but it also, how we use the tools that are at our fingertips, right? I mean, we didn't have social media. We didn't have these connectivity tools and technology that we have now when the world is struck with a health crisis. And I think it does offer, a strong dialogue around how we can kind of see it a bit differently and use those tools to our advantage. But I think that your point of like consistency, right? Like show up, go to the first visit, go to the second visit. If you really commit and take those actions, you then see the results and you get to like, internalize that and feel it. And all of them, I mean, I can only imagine it because I haven't crossed that bridge to fatherhood yet. But as a partnership going through that experience, I mean, I can't imagine that in that moment of when you really feel the belief, right? When you're like, wow, this is working and this is possible. I mean, all of a sudden you're like, you open up to like a whole new world. I mean, it's incredible. And congratulations to you and your wife and your healthy daughter for going through that experience. I think about this for myself often, and if you can remember, I want you to share with me, but do you remember the day that you found out that you were going to be a dad?
Oh, yes, I do. I do. And I had mixed feelings at the start because it took me back from when I was a kid and growing up and the world that was then. And then I imagined how much more of a world that I'm imagining for my incoming baby and how I want the world to change for her and how I want her to impact on the world. And the feelings were mixed. Mixed in either way that, yes, maybe circumstances that we've been through have shaped us to be strong enough, but also to create a clearer ground for the rest of the generations that's coming after us. Look at the young people that are now running the area psychosocial clubs that we support here in Uganda that we pioneered. At first, it was just a program. Right now, it's a whole community, it's a whole network of young change makers, of superstars that are up front to the task. And through them, I could see the lens of fatherhood. That it starts with me, but then it's going to spread out to every generation that I subscribe to. Now, up front, we're in the light. People have the knowledge that the science and research that is published every day, that it's just them, they didn't decide it, but they can't decide to put an HIV generation to an end. But then I didn't have an option. Right now I have hundreds of options on what I can do about it. So when you have the options, so you're given the power, you can control what comes to you and what doesn't. Yeah. And so for me, that's the most significant part of, it's not only about myself, but it's also about the people I care about. It's about family, it's about friends. So being able to know that they are safe even around me, even around the partnership and the relationships, that gives me a whole fulfillment that what we look forward to is actually very possible. It is closer than we even imagine it is.
You know, in this conversation, I mean, we're talking about the International Day of the Parent, you know, and there are a lot of people out there, I mean, me included, HIV positive. I'm not a parent yet. There are a lot of people out there that are HIV positive and want kids. There's a lot of stigma, you know, as you said, within males in certain cultures of engaging and accessing healthcare and being proactive in that experience. I mean, for you being the individual you are, but now the new father that you are, what's the advice that you want to give other people that are living with HIV who want to become parents?
For me, like I said at the start, it's about taking care of others. Look at others before you look at yourself. So that way you will see yourself through their lens. I mean, if you care about others, you'll care about not passing the virus to them. So that means you'll adhere to your treatment, you'll make sure you keep track of your vital load, you'll make sure with intent and purpose that it is undetected because you do not want to transmit it to anyone, but also look beyond your status. Look beyond your status. We've always had this talk with you about normalizing HIV. When we said we imagine a time when people walk to the HIV clinic and they're getting treatment like they're doing for a cold or a cough. That would be so easy to address all barriers of treatment and adherence. So for me, the take home is, can you look at people? Can you look at yourself through the lens of other people? And with that will be easier for you.
No, I agree with you. We have to build a stronger empathy muscle, right? Like people need to really understand their actions and how their actions impact the people around them as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining, why did I have to accompany my wife for antenatal care? Because I looked myself through her lens. Did she need my emotional support? How did she feel if I wasn't there? Or what if I was absent? And that way it gave me the courage to adhere well. For the last 10 years, my virus has been undetected. But this is not something that I would take for granted. This is something that's built up over time, every day and every minute counts. That adherence, to be so cautious that this is not just about me.
Yeah.
So whether it's about your good health or not, it also has an impact on someone else.
I want to know from you, I mean, what do you feel are the most poignant areas where we as a global community can grow and work better in creating an AIDS-free generation?
Some of them you've mentioned already. I mean, like treatment access. Not everyone has had the privilege to get access to treatment, but also quality treatment. That's a whole big that's a whole big important decision that the global community can take. And through that access to treatment, the whole cascade is complete. I mean, with good quality treatment, people can be able to suppress their viral loads, and then they're able to pass on the virus. And then also continuing the advocacy efforts. I mean, not everyone is strong enough to face the world, a world of judgment, a world of stigma and discrimination. But when people know that, yes, there is a movement of other empowered and determined people, then that sparks off a conversation, that sparks off another movement worldwide to get to a world that we look forward to, a world without HIV. The other day I was watching Magic Johnson video, and then I was contextualizing how his teammates felt when he came out and said he was HIV positive, but also relating it to today when they see him successful and living a life, a normal life. It wasn't perceived to be that by then. And I said, these are people, these these are some of the icons that will help build on our small efforts to realize that, hey, it's way long gone when HIV was scary, the sentence, and causing alarm. But also the COVID-19 vaccine, the COVID-19 pandemic, in a way has equalized the world of global health. Not equalized positively, but to show that there's so much more that the world can do than having to worry about the stigma and the discrimination about HIV.
Yeah, I mean, you can waste a lot of time and a lot of energy using negative emotions to support to perpetuate stigma, you know, and to perpetuate those negative perceptions of things when we could be taking healthy action that get us to a destination that we actually enjoy so much more, and we can get there so much faster if we just take that action together, you know. And I think your point, I mean, I think it's a big call to action, right? There are so many people that catapulted the movement of growing, you know, funding and research and care and treatment and access to treatment in the world around HIV and AIDS from the 80s till now. You know, and a lot of those people are not with us anymore, and you know, life's, you know, they made their sacrifices and they gave their lives to create the opportunity for the world that we have today. But for those that did live through that and are with us today, that are on that, you know, impactful level of whether it's influencing community or business or government, you know, it's we are in a place where, like I said, I think there's a behavioral cure out there. And if we can rally around that as a community and tell those stories, then I think we can very drastically change the direction of the narrative around HIV stigma, and we can show people a completely new world. You inspire me so much to think that I can one day and will one day have this experience, but just to see you here with the smile you have on your face, the positivity that's radiating from you, I just wanted to say that I love you, bro.
And guess what? It won't be long. We'll be back here talking about it, and you'll see how short a time it was.
Yeah, serious, right? Well, that'll be something else, man, to be able to sit down with you and either have a cup of coffee or have a beer and be able to talk about fatherhood, you know, and through the lens of a shared experience. And you know, yeah, man, I mean, I want to thank you for being an inspiration, for being an example for those out there that want to be a father, that are HIV positive, that might be questioning their path to getting there, or not necessarily breaking away from old narrative and the stigma that has you know, plagued us for so long within this community. And so you're a lightning rod and an inspiration to that experience. And I just want you to know that I will forever and continue to support every action that you take in that advocacy. And I thank you for being here with us today.